Look, sometimes it just isn't working out with a couple of your regular starters, and that time comes for the coach to make that difficult call to bench your man and get some fresh blood in there. And right now, there are quite a few teams that really need to start making that call. As NFL teams gear up for the final month-long stretch of the 2022 season, some difficult coaching decisions must be made. We've seen enough up to this point to believe that certain starters need to be benched as soon as possible. Not only are these players struggling and someone holding their teams back, but there are enticing replacements available who deserve the chance to play over them. So here are 10 NFL starters who need to be benched as soon as possible. Mac Jones. It's a bold take, Cotton, but one that must be considered. After a sluggish 1-3 start to open the year, the New England Patriots gradually regained their form and snuck back into the playoff picture thanks to a strong November. But make no mistake, this was thanks to special teams, defense, and the rushing game, and certainly not the passing game. Mac Jones is one of the best rookie signal callers of 2021, but the Alabama product hasn't displayed the same swagger in year 2. Not only is he struggling to even hit 200 passing yards a game, but his turnovers and decision-making has cost the team on several occasions. Jones is also taking way too many sacks, and that's not so much an indictment on the O-line as much as it is him holding on to the ball for too long. The New England offense just rolled that much better when rookie Bailey Zappi was on the field. Coming in for an injured Brian Hoyer in Week 4, Zappi nearly led the Patriots to a stunning victory over Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field, but they narrowly fell in overtime. Zappi then rallied the Patriots with easy wins against the Detroit Lions and Cleveland Browns in Week 5 and 6 respectively. In 4 appearances, Zappi had 5 touchdown passes. Meanwhile, Mac Jones had 4 touchdown passes through his first 7 games of 2022. We aren't saying the Patriots need to give up on the 2021 first rounder forever, but Bill Belichick of all people shouldn't be afraid to ride the hot hand. Zappi was running a very efficient 2-dimensional offense before the Patriots went back to Jones. With Jones, it's an offense that lives and dies by the rushing game. So you do the math. Based on what we've seen, Zappi gives these Patriots a better chance at making the postseason. Andy Dalton. The New Orleans Saints had no choice but to start Andy Dalton in Week 4. Jameis Winston was playing through painful back and ankle injuries, forcing him to take several weeks off after a Week 3 loss to the Carolina Panthers. Dalton had some good games with the Saints, but like his final years with the Cincinnati Bengals, the decision-making, turnovers, and high sack totals have become a serious problem. We can't forget that 3-pick outing against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 7, or that stinker of a performance against the lowly Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 10 when he got stuffed on a 4th-and-1 QB sneak. Dalton is a fine short-term option to play 1 or 2 games if a team starter is out, but Dennis Allen has been rolling with him since Week 6 despite Winston being healthy enough to dress. How do you go with a past his prime, turnover-prone QB in favor of the guy with more upside and familiarity in this offense? The 2022 season has been a giant disappointment in the Big Easy. The Saints still don't know what they have in Winston. Is he a capable franchise QB or a bridge option to their next signal caller? It's time to give the starting duties back to Winston and see if he's your quarterback of the future or not. Ezekiel Elliott. We all know that the 2-time rushing champion isn't in his prime anymore. Elliott is still a productive running back though, and he remains the NFL's golden standard for pass blocking among running backs. But it's been pretty obvious for, well, at least the last year that Tony Pollard is the better option in the backfield. Why Jerry Jones continues to insist on using Elliott is silly. We get it, you want to get something out of the mammoth $90 million contract you handed him in 2019, but shouldn't winning be the main priority? Pollard is faster, more explosive, and more reliable with the football. You can keep giving Zeke the goal line carries. He's still very effective in that area, but Elliott should not be getting the majority of carries. It shouldn't even be 50-50. It should be more like 65-35 in favor of Pollard. Seriously, Jerry, prioritize winning a Super Bowl over getting enough out of your $90 million investment. This really shouldn't be so difficult. Chandon Sullivan. The Minnesota Vikings may be running away with the NFC North, but the defense, particularly the secondary, certainly is not a key reason why. Mini star-studded offense led by Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, and Adam Thielen is why the squad is playoff bound. If this team had a half-decent defense, there is no telling how much more dangerous they would be. The trade deadline is over, so head coach Kevin O'Connell and defensive coordinator Ed Donatel can't make any drastic changes now. What they can do, though, is switch up the personnel in the secondary. secondary. After a productive season with the Green Bay Packers in 2021, Chandon Sullivan joined the rival Vikings in free agency, but he hasn't really done anything to improve that secondary. In fact, if anything, he may have made it even worse. The data from Pro Football Focus and Pro Football Reference ain't pretty. He's been a huge liability in coverage. Rookie Andrew Booth has seen limited playing time since returning from a quad injury, and with a much higher skill set, there's little debate that he should replace Sullivan in the secondary. You know, just a suggestion for you, Minnie. No pressure or anything. It's only the Super Bowl you're playing for. Braxton Jones. We all knew coming into the season that the Chicago Bears offensive line would be a mess in the pass blocking department. Credit the unit for helping Justin Fields take off as a runner, but the man won't ever reach his full potential until the pass protection improves. One way to improve that awful pass protection? Well, bench rookie Braxton Jones, who simply isn't cutting it as a starting tackle. The Bears left many scratching their heads by waiting until the draft to address the O-line when they had plenty of cap space to make some moves in free agency. They picked up Jones in the 5th round, 168th overall in this year's draft, and so far, not so good. Just look at all the penalties and sacks Jones is accounted for. According to PFF, he's been responsible for 6 penalties and 5 sacks through the team's first 11 games. How can the Bears coaching staff find that acceptable when they're trying to build around their young rookie QB? It just feels like veteran Riley Reiff would be a better option at this point in the season. Chicago has to prioritize protecting Fields, and they're certainly not doing that by keeping the rookie Jones in there. Kendall Fuller. The Washington Commanders defense has been flying under the radar all season long. This unit looks a lot more like the 2020 group that powered the team to an NFC East division title, and not at all like the 2021 unit that underperformed. The defensive line has led the way during Washington's strong second half showing. The secondary has held down the fort as well, but veteran Kendall Fuller has been burned in coverage way too often. Fuller played at a near Pro Bowl level in 2021, as PFF graded him at an 81.5 on the year. But he has given up way too many explosive plays in coverage this year, and quarterbacks are enjoying a higher passer rating when targeting him. Why not give second-year corner Rashad Wildgoose extra playing time in favor of Fuller? Wildgoose has been solid when targeted in coverage, but we've only seen him play about a third of the team's defensive snaps. You really don't know what you have in him until you play him more. Fuller doesn't need to be benched for the rest of the season, but the Commanders should definitely play him less and see what Wildgoose has as they push for a playoff spot. If Wildgoose doesn't pan out, then go back to Fuller. But this is a change that is at least worth trying for Ron Rivera's club. Juwan Taylor. The Jacksonville Jaguars did sign All-Pro guard Brandon Scherf in the offseason, but they still could have used an upgrade at offensive tackle. They ignored that need, however, as GM Trent Baalke curiously decided to continue with the tandem of Juwan Taylor and Cam Robinson. Protecting franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence should have been the main priority in the offseason, but T-Law is still taking way too many hits for our liking, and it's not surprising given the Jaguars' decision to start a flawed Taylor at tackle. Penalties and high sack totals have always been a problem for Taylor, and that hasn't changed in 2022. With a playoff spot out of reach, the Jaguars should bench Taylor and see what 2021 second-round pick Walker Little can do. Little has more upside and hasn't gotten enough playing time to show his potential as a capable starting lineman. What do the Jaguars have to lose at this point by starting him over Taylor? Jalen Mills. The ex-Philadelphia Eagle was part of the New England Patriots' giant 2021 free agent shopping spree, landing a 4-year deal worth $24 million. It felt rich at the time, but nobody has a better track record of developing quality corners than Bill Belichick, so we tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. The Patriots' defense was elite in 2021, and it remains as good as ever in 2022, but that's largely due to the incredible cornerback duo of veteran Jonathan Jones and rookie Jack Jones. Jalen Mills, on the other hand, has struggled mightily in coverage. Last season, Mills surrendered a 111.4 passer rating when targeted by opposing QBs. If you watch the game tape, you'll see him losing his one-on-one matchups far too often. He's given up too many big plays and just looks lost out there. Honestly, it's surprising that Belichick has continued to roll with Mills, who's one of the NFL's worst defensive backs of 2022 according to PFF. At this point, why not give Miles Bryant more playing time in favor of Mills? That decision should be a no-brainer. The Patriots defense is elite, but Mills has been a weak link for long enough. Time to show him the bench and see what Bryant or another second stringer can do. Najee Harris. Harris was the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense in 2021, racking up 1,667 yards of offense and 10 touchdowns as a rookie. Bigger things were expected for the Alabama product entering 2022, but he's instead been a victim of the well-documented sophomore slump. The Steelers are in the midst of their worst season since 2003. The growing pains were expected, though, as the team rebuilds with Kenny Pickett under center. We aren't saying the Steelers need to give up on Harris for good, but he definitely shouldn't be the lead running back the rest of the way. Undrafted rookie Jalen Warren has looked more explosive and dangerous with the ball in his hands. Yeah, it's a small sample size, but why not see what the rookie can do? Also, it wouldn't hurt Harris to have fewer reps to ensure he's fresh and healthy for a rebound campaign in 2023. No sense overworking your franchise running back when the season is lost. And if Warren is up for the challenge, Pittsburgh can always roll the dynamic 1-2 punch at running back going forward. Cam Akers. Cam Akers' ascent to the top of the Los Angeles Rams depth chart has been a strange one. He opened the year with many expecting him to lead this backfield, but then came that week 1 shocker when he received just 3 carries compared to Darrell Henderson's 13. He was given more carries in the ensuing weeks and was handed the starter's role for weeks 5 and 4, but a clash with head coach Sean McVay, coupled with his abysmal 2.96 yards per carry through the first 5 weeks, resulted in Akers being benched. As a healthy inactive from weeks 6 through 8, it was expected that Akers would get dealt before the trade deadline. But the Rams couldn't find any takers, so they inserted the 2020 second-round pick back into the lineup in week 9. And after the team released Henderson following their week 11 loss, Akers now finds himself back in the starting role. Although, he really shouldn't be. Coming into the season, there was plenty of hype surrounding rookie 5th-round pick Kyren Williams. With the Rams season already looking like a wash, why not see what the young Notre Dame alum can do when handed the starting role? Not only will it give the Rams a chance to see what Williams can do, but it'll also give Akers the opportunity to rest the Achilles that he tore over just a year ago. A torn Achilles is perhaps the toughest injury for NFL players to come back from, especially running backs. That's been quite apparent in Akers' struggles ever since he returned during the team's playoff run last year. Look, add it all up, and Williams should be the Rams starting running back down the stretch, not Cam Akers. But which other NFL players do you think need to be benched ASAP? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.